I'm Irene Roberts,
Okay.
and live, love, laugh is my credo.
Okay. Did you do that yourself?
I didn't embroider it, but I did make a little pillow out of it,
Okay.
so that it was more practical than just having a little piece of fabric around.
Okay. Okay. Why do you find that that's important?
I like the philosophy.
Okay.
I believe in living. I certainly believe in loving.
Yeah.
And laughter, I think, is probably the best medicine.
Okay.
I think if you can find humor in anything in life, you're ahead of the game.
Okay. Good. I remember many years ago you had mentioned something about the notion of being a survivor, and you had said the word
Yeah.
liver.
I don't consider myself a survivor.
Okay.
I consider myself a liver, one who lives.
Okay.
Survivor, to me, is somebody who's struggling, and I'm not struggling. I'm enjoying life.
You're enjoying life. Okay.
Yeah, and I do something every day that I enjoy doing.
Okay. Would you be okay talking a little bit about what inspired that? How did that come about, or the first time that you're in a situation, the health condition that things that we've been through. And so you're like, hey, I'm not a survivor, and what was the process, what you went through, or if you'd rather not share, whatever you prefer.
I'm more than willing to share.
Okay.
I think it's a healthy outlook on life, and I think
Yeah.
a lot of people who sit and say, woe is me, maybe should hear it,
Okay.
should hear the message.
Yeah.
When I was first diagnosed with cancer, I didn't say why me. I figured had to be a reason.
Okay.
For me, there has to be a logical reason.
Okay.
And because both my mother and husband had cancer, were never told they had it, and never talked about it, I felt that I was going to do the opposite. If anybody was diagnosed and was as scared as I was when I first heard the diagnosis, that I would be there to help them.
Okay.
I would be there to talk to them and help them through it. And then when I was diagnosed with the second cancer, I said the same thing. Well, and then when I had the third cancer, I said, for sure, I have to tell people that,
Right.
You can get through it and you
Yeah.
can live.
Absolutely.
And of course, a year and a half ago, I had my fourth cancer.
Oh.
And so
Okay.
I
Wow.
feel more than ever that
Yeah.
life is for living.
Right.
And it's up to you to make your life. There's nobody who can come along and say, if you do this, your life will change. You have to change it. It doesn't change by itself.
Right. Wow. That's very powerful. Without mentioning institutions, but we spoke about this one individual who had made some comment, and how you immediately said, okay, you and I can't be working together on this.
Yeah, recently, one of the side effects of the fourth cancer was that it affected the blood and platelets.
Okay.
And what the doctor said to me was, there's no cure, there's no treatment, and you've lived a long life.
Wow.
And so, we parted company.
Oh,
I
man.
went to a doctor who said, yes, there is treatment, and I'm doing okay.
Yeah,
I'm
that's great.
improving, and I'm thrilled.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, very minor in comparison, but just conceptually I find it very similar. I had a conversation with somebody not too long ago about an idea I had, and this person stated, well, it can't happen. We can't do that, and this can't. And I'm like, okay, this is, I'm not saying that we should part the world in half. Like, this is nothing complex is what my request is. And so I spoke to somebody else about it, and similar response, if not almost verbatim. And when I hear that things can't be done, or when people say they create these obstacles in what they say with, oh, that's very hard, that's very difficult. Like, why are you even worried about how difficult it's going to be? We know that. It may be the case. But why focus on that?
Yeah, it's what they call a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Oh, right. Yeah. It's like, oh, man, I can't do it. Or the difference between saying, I can do it, I can do it. That mindset is going to shift your life. And if you have an opportunity, let's just say, to travel and, I don't know, get this amazing degree, if that suits your, that gives you fulfillment, you say, oh, I'm not going to make it out there as an engineer in Germany or whatever it is. You keep telling yourself you can't, and you just stay home. You're like, oh, I can't do it, I can't compete. You're never going to go for it.
Yeah, when I was first diagnosed, the doctor stood at the foot of my bed and he said, it was positive. And I said, great.
Oh my God. Wow.
And he just looked at me. And so I said, I guess negative would have been better. And he said, yeah.
Oh my God, you said great.
And I said to him, well, it's not going to change my life. And he said, good for you.
Wow.
And it did change my life, but it changed it for the better. Because I view things differently.
Yeah.
Especially time.
Time.
Yeah, I found that there were a lot of people who used to call me. We'd be on the phone an hour or 2 hours.
Okay.
And then we would hang up, and I'd be feeling lousy, and they would say the next day, gee, I felt so good after I talked with you. Because they dumped everything on me.
Right. Yeah.
So I got rid of a lot of those people.
Wow.
Because they weren't really friends. They were using me as a therapist, and they had to go and find their own therapist because I wasn't there anymore.
Wow. That's great. That's a great decision. I mean, I've been through that as well. And, you have so much more life experience than I do. So thank you for sharing that. And actually, in me mentioning the whole can or can't attitude, or that's hard, or why even bothering, because I've been communicating with a lot of my friends as well. And after I started coming out, or it came to light that I was dealing with something that we spoke about last year, year and a half roughly. The outlook on how you deal with life, your positive outlook, or if you have a negative outlook, if you're so focused on the negativity, your life turns into this cave. And it's not a very colorful, happy cave. It's more like a very dark, cold, echoey, lonely feeling. Whereas you can be in that same cave, you have a positive outlook, and say, oh man, look, I'm in this cool cave. Hey, look at that. And so your perspective, it empowers you or disempowers you, and you make that choice.
I mean, how many people do you think, when they're told that their husband has 2 years to live, would say, great, I'm glad he didn't die right away, because I have to learn how to support my family.
Wow.
But how many people do you think would have that reaction?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean...
And I said to the doctor, do you need him, this was in the hospital, and I said, do you need him for anything more? They said, no. I said, fine, I'm taking him home now. And
oh my gosh. Did somebody teach you to be what I feel, that's resilience, and...
I was 37.
Okay.
I was only 37.
All right.
And that's a huge responsibility to be thrust.
Absolutely.
To have thrust on you.
Yeah, you had it's a business to deal with, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, it was his and his father's and his brothers, but they had always told me that by working in the store and helping them,
yeah,
I was part of the business and I would gain from it.
Right.
The week after my husband died, my father-in-law told me my equity in the business was buried with my husband.
Oof.
And I had to take out a personal loan and pay it off myself if I wanted to work in the store.
Wow.
And because Morris had died, he also said that he canceled our Blue Cross because he said we were no longer a family. And I had 2 daughters in college and no medical coverage. And my income had been more than cut in half because I didn't get... I was missing my husband's salary. I was missing my husband.
Yeah.
And I had to pay it out of my own paycheck. So out of $200 a week, I had to cover my rent, the Blue Cross, and pay back a personal loan for the store. So it was It was what you would call a rough period of time in my life.
Yeah, to say the least, right?
Yeah.
What what other than laughing and that type of resilience, situations where people feel like the world just ended, what would be the first bit of advice that you would give this individual? That would be something that you can, whether it be male, female, just universally. When something hits you like that, what do you feel, and what has worked for you as an appropriate response?
Music.
Music.
Yeah, I was always singing or whistling, and the songs that would come to mind was like Unsinkable Molly Brown, where it says, "I ain't down yet.
Okay.
Remember whenever you're down and out, the only way is up." And these were songs that, to me, helped get me through.
Wow.
Because at that time, I wasn't going to synagogue or anything. I was busy working 6 days a week, and
Okay.
the seventh day trying to take care of my family. So, but music has played an important part in my life.
Yeah.
And still does. I've been
Yeah.
with the orchestra for 30 years now.
Right.
We just had a 92nd anniversary concert. That was. I came back from Spain a day early so that I could be so I could be at the concert and play in it.
Okay. Okay, so music. Resilience, laughing at everything. Well, not everything, but looking at these situations and smiling.
Well, and also, there's something in the Bible that says, "This too shall pass."
Right.
And
Pain is temporary.
Yeah, this too shall pass away, and that was something also that helped. Knowing that it was something you had to get through, and it would pass.
Right.
And I always knew, whether it's good news or bad news, it would pass. It would
pass.
change.
Right.
Nothing is permanent. Nothing is in concrete.
Right. Okay.
Those are a couple of the things that got me through, and doing something creative.
Okay.
That's always been very important to me, to make something, to do something, to create.
Okay.
I wanted 6 children.
Okay.
I wanted to create a lot.
All right.
My husband didn't agree with me.
Okay.
So we have 2 daughters.
You have to.
Yeah.
Okay. And you have wonderful creative projects and.
And I created it all. I built all the cabinets, recovered. Everything in this apartment had prior ownership.
Mm.
I can point to the 2-3 things, 3 lamps that I bought and a TV.
Right.
Most of the other things had prior ownership that somebody gave me a unit that didn't have shelves or knobs or anything.
Okay.
And so I'd be walking along the street and I'd see a piece of lumber, shelving. I would take it. And the bus drivers would see me come home with it, and they'd say, "Well, what are you doing with all that?" And I tell them I'm building a porch.
Oh, very nice. Okay. Is there anything that comes to mind now that you'd like to share before we? Because I definitely want to come back. I mean, I love talking with you.
Thank you.
We've been, every time we come, we chat, we having a really wonderful and engaging conversation. So, I definitely hope to be back for more. Of course, if you're willing to.
Of course.
Thank you.
But just to know that you can get through anything. You just have to want to get through it. You can't sit and wallow and say, "This is the end," because it isn't. It's only the end if you want it to be the end, but it isn't.
Okay.
And you can live a full, long, productive life.
Right.
But you have to want to.
Okay.
It has to come from within. It can't come from without.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you.
You're very welcome.